Well, good afternoon. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I would like to start by thanking the Global India Business Forum for this invitation and all of you for attending as well this important event. Well, we are going to talk about Cuba, an island in the Caribbean Sea, around more than 10 million inhabitants, 110 square kilometers, and in front of in the entrance of the Bay of Mexico. What a beautiful name, Gulf of Mexico, en Ambassador. Well, but after this wonderful launch, I propose you to start hearing or enjoying Cuban music in Hindi. Have you heard before? Let's play. The second one, please. Well, how many of you have visited Cuba? The rest. You saw Salman and Katrina enjoying the Cuban music, dancing, smoking some Cuban cigars, drinking some mojito. Please, you can take the next flight to Havana and to discover by yourself. Well, but Cuba is also very well known by his results in sports. Here you see some of the Olympic champions of Cuba. Alberto Juan, the only one that in a single Olympic game has won the 400 and 800 meters careers. The second one is Javier Sotomayor, the highest jump, 2.45, still enforced this record for more than 20 years. Stevenson, the most famous in boxing. Also you see Mijaín López, 5-time gold medals in Olympic Games consecutively, the only one that has made that. So we can cooperate as well in sports, making India also to have better results in wrestling, in boxing, in volleyball, in many other sports. So we will focus how can we cooperate, how can we increase and enhance our bilateral cooperation. Let's go to the follow. Okay. Well, as my colleagues also have exchanged with you, we have scientific potentials as benefits and guarantees, also political and social stability in our country, legal protection, high qualified labor force, and growing opportunity for foreign investment. Also, they have explained, each country of Latin American countries has also the privileged geographical locations and something to offer in order to increase the connectivity between our countries. For example, you see by the border of Cuba also crossing the international commercial maritime traffic axis. Well, but for that reason, in November 2013, we created the Special Development Zone of Mariel, a visionary project to develop our country with some taxation regime, special taxation regime, also with important infrastructure and services that you can provide or receive in this installation. This year we are celebrating the 65th anniversary of the diplomatic relationship between Cuba and India. And for that reason, a Deputy Prime Minister of Cuba 2 weeks ago visited India. He fulfilled an excellent program. He had the opportunity to greet the Prime Minister, also to meet 5 ministers in 1 week. Some important memoranda of understanding were signed during his visit, for example, in sports, in health, in science and technology, in biotechnology specifically, and also in Ayurvedic medicine. And we, in my opinion, we have now all the conditions in order to start improving our bilateral economic, commercial, and the cooperation relations between our two countries. This was the sector, the key sector, that were identified in order to improve our economic relations: biopharma, energy, health, agro-industry, tourism, and IT. I will go fast for each one. In biopharma, we have a BioCuba Pharma. It's a holding group in Cuba with more than 48 enterprises, 34 located in Cuba and 14 abroad. Also, we are producing more than 1,000 products for the domestic market in Cuba because we have a very strong pharmaceutical industry in our country. But we need a supplier for specific active pharmaceutical ingredients or raw materials for this industry. So we are quite interested also for have some partners in this regard, and well, also to develop some common co-research, co-development, and co-production in biotechnology sector. We have also excellent products to offer to India and globally as well. For example, few of them that has reached the World Medals Award. For example, this one, the Vamengo is first effective vaccine against a meningococcal B disease. Cuban population is completely vaccinated and is covered by this disease. It's something that we can offer, and we can do common business, joint business with India to offer to this country, but also to other countries. This second is Nasvac. Nasvac is a therapeutic recombinant vaccine against chronic hepatitis B virus infections, induce a strong immune response. This other two, for example, Everprod P is a worldwide unique product for the treatment of patients with advanced diabetic foot ulcers with high risk of amputation. See those figures. In India, I was checking today in the morning, more than 100 million people suffer of this diabetes. And it's probably, according to the international standards, that more than 100,000 are in risk to amputations every year. With these vaccines or this medication, you can avoid that the people lose their feet, which is very important personally for them, or also for the family and the society itself. So it's a strategic product that we can work together. And also, for example, I show you the 5 candidates that the Cuban science found to combat the COVID-19. It is something that we were able to cover the entire Cuban population using our own vaccines against COVID-19 produced by our industry. What are the modality of cooperation that we are offering? Well, as I said, co-research, co-development, joint venture, even transfer technology. In a case, we can scale the production in India to offer to the regional market or also globally as well. Well, in the case of energy, I go fast because now we are quite dependent, more than 80% of the oil to produce energy in our country, and we are facing troubles, because it's quite expensive today. We have a decision to implement a Cuban National Energy Efficiency Program in order to move from or to the renewable resources energies. And we have a plan for the forthcoming years. This year we are introducing in Cuba or installing 1,000 megawatts, the next 2 years 1,000 more, but we have to get or to find application as well. For example, in solar power, water pump, and other kind, inside cooking equipments and so on, in order to also to spread out this application in our country. In agro-industry, I would like to focus on two. Sugar cane production. As my colleague from Brazil said, Brazil and India has the global producer of sugar. 1 year is Brazil, another India, but in the case of Cuba, we have had experience in the past. In the 70s, in the 80s, we were able to produce up to 9 million tons per year. Now it's much less, but we have the capacity, we have the tradition, we have the labor sources prepared for that, and we would like to find appropriate investors in order to improve the production in our country in this specific sector, in order to go for biodiesel and other experiences. And finally, just a few days ago, it is an Indian channel we own that published new decisions in agriculture in Cuba in order to facilitate the foreign investments. For example, land delivery for a period of time, especially in rice, beans, and some of the specific items we should import a high quantity of products, or supply of technology package, and also free export of the final production. When in the case of IT, well, we are in Hyderabad, it offered many opportunities. In the last 15 years, we have improved the formation of human capital, 1,000 per year, and also we would like to cooperate with India in outsourcing to develop joint applications specifically for Latin American countries in Spanish, and also to create joint ventures in our country, in India, or in a third country. In the case of health, so we have the possibility to cooperate together in some specific areas, for example, in Medicare services, also in academic and teaching services, and in professional services abroad. We have experience in more than 50 countries with providing medical services to many countries, and we can work together with India in this direction as well. There are some medical care services or treatments that we are offering that we can do even here. We can bring some specialists and work together with some hospitals here in Delhi to provide these expertises. For example, immunotherapy for lung cancer, vitiligo and psoriasis treatment program, in comprehensive neurological restoration, and in retinosis pigmentosa treatment programs. These are special skills that Cuban institution has, and we could work together on this sector. And finally, the tourism. Well, we can use all the infrastructure that has been created in our country in the last 20 years, international airports, cruise terminals, marines. Also, some investment we have, for example, these all companies are presented in Cuba, including one Indian company, is Mutu company. Mutu is managing in Cuba more than 11 hotels, more than 7,000 rooms. So we can promote together with some tourist agencies the Cuban destination through the hands of these Mutu hotels in our country. Well, some tourism in nature, in diving, historical as well, and see what have happened in the last years. After the COVID-19, the number of visitors from India has dropped. See, and there are new facilities also in transportation, international transportation, through, for example, Istanbul, Paris, Moscow, and others. And we have offering excellent package also to India. So let's work together also to promote the Cuban destination. We are also facilitating, for example, now we have this electronic visa application. In just few hours, you can apply for a visa. You don't have to go to a consulate. You can get it in hours, and you can fly to Havana. So it's easier today. So Cuba is unique, my friend. You can discover by yourself. And to end also, please can you play it? You to enjoy.
Sonríen y a la vez desaparecen tus dolores.
Well, thank you so much.